Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so welcome to the Krishna Katha and Kirtan program. I am Govind Das, a volunteer of ISKCON Silicon Valley. And today we are actually doing this program in the honor of, or the memory of the father of Rajeshwar Prabhuji here. Let me just actually put the spotlight on him. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for organizing the program in the memory of your late father. Today is, I think, 7th. Yeah, sorry, actually, it's, yeah. So, you know, what is the actual need of doing programs like this? In the scriptures, it's actually mentioned, especially in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that akamo sarva kamova moksha kam udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajet purushah param. That whether you don't have any desire, akamo sarva kamova, if you have a lot of desires, or if you actually are a very broad-minded person who is interested in moksha. In all cases, we should engage ourselves vigorously in the process of bhakti. Akamo sarva kamova moksha kam udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusha param. And to be honest, when we have no choice as to which family or which condition or which species we are actually born in, what will be our destiny. This is all decided by the Lord. And then Lord also says that whoever comes in this world will definitely leave this world. Jata sihi dhruvo mityu, dhruvo janma mritasya cha. So we should not feel sad for the passing away of such a soul. because eventually there is no death for the soul, and the soul is an eternal fragment of the Paramatma. Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Mamevansho Jeev Loke Jeev Bhut Sanatanaha. But I think the sure shot, the scriptures are shouting from the treetops that the sure shot way of liberating ourselves and our family members from this conditioned way of life in which we are struggling so much is through the process of bhakti. And actually, Vishnu Puran clearly says that whoever engages in the worship of Lord Vishnu or Vishnu Tattva, that all the different kind of karmas are cut away. It says that so all of them are actually cut away by and by. So that is why we are actually engaging in this process of Bhakti Yoga. And I congratulate Rajeshwar Prabhu and his family for having this thought, for having this Nam Sankirtan Yajna for his late father. Because the spiritual benefit that we can provide to our forefathers through this extremely powerful Nam Sankirtan Yajna and Harikatha is really incalculable. And when a lot of people get together and do it, the power of that increases. And so today I would request all of you to pray for the soul of Rajeshwar Bupla Prabhu and give him the spiritual benefit. So now I would like to invite, so let me just tell you the program timeline. We will have about 20 minutes of Kirtan by the two brilliant kids of Amit Goswami Prabhu, Nimai and Nitai. They are both learning music from very good bona fide devotees, and they'll be inspiring us with their kirtan and their bhav. So let me just I'm asking to unmute Nitai. Yeah, and I'm going to put the spotlight on them. I also welcome their mother, Rasheshwari Mataji. Welcome, Mataji. And they'll be doing Kirtan together. Rasheshwari Mataji is actually very actively involved in leading the Vedic Academy School for all the kids in ISKCON of Silicon Valley. So if any one of you is interested in enrolling your kids in a spiritual enrichment program, you can get in touch with us or go to the website iskonofsiliconvalley.com. Okay, over to you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare
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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya
Jaya Jaya
Gauranitai
Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Now we'll switch. the
Hare Krishna.
Nitai
Thank you
Gaura.
very much. That was very nice. Now I think they will switch.
Hare Krishna. Let's start.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama
Rama Rama,
Rama Rama
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama
Rama Rama,
Rama Rama
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama
Rama Rama,
Rama Rama
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama
Rama Rama,
Rama Rama
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama
Hare Rama,
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe.
Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you very much. And now we are actually going to invite Vrindavan Priya Prabhu for giving us, enlightening us on Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavad Tattva. So I will ask to unmute him.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya
Prabhu,
Jnana.
excuse me, can you increase the volume slightly?
Volume?
Mm-hmm.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurauन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपादकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. It's good to see all of you on the online Zoom session for this special Kirtan program. And as I also understand from Govind Prabhu, we're also honoring occasion of like the passing away anniversary of Rajeshwar Prabhu's father. Is that right? Okay, Hare Krishna. Good to see you, Prabhu and Mataji. It's been so long. We have not seen each other at the temple anymore for several months. So I think it's a small, nice and like a small family event. So we can speak something from the Bhagavad Gita to draw inspiration from the Gita, no matter what the occasion is, no matter what phase of life we are in. There's always something suitable and always something inspiring to hear from the Bhagavad Gita. These are words spoken by the Lord Himself, so they have the ultimate potency. And through the medium of Arjuna, the Lord is actually instructing all of us. He's actually helping out all of us by giving these very, very sublime and very thought-provoking and also very deep, touching message. So I will speak a little bit about the third chapter, which is Karma Yoga or Action in Krishna Consciousness. But to give a background for the beginning of third chapter, Arjuna asks a question, and that question is actually relevant to what was discussed in the second chapter. So the second chapter is usually titled as Sankhya Yoga. In the translation in English, Srila Prabhupada has translated this to Contents of Gita Summarized. So many of you may have Bhagavad Gita as it is, right, at home. So I would recommend that you can get your copies so we can follow along, read some verses. And for those who may not have a copy, maybe Govind Prabhu can project on the screen some verses that we'll recite together. So in the beginning of the third chapter, Arjuna asks a question, and that question becomes relevant or pertinent because of what was discussed in the second chapter. So the second chapter has two sections. One is the first half is on Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga is analytical study of the constitutional nature of the soul, what the soul is like and what the soul is not like. Those are important things to understand, because as such we cannot see the soul with our naked eyes. The soul is said to be very, very tiny, very, very minute, and also very subtle in nature. So the soul or Atma cannot be perceived. It cannot be perceived with our senses. In fact, it cannot also be perceived with our minds and intellect unless they are purified. So in the ordinary course of life, for those who are conditioned in the material world, it is practically impossible to see like oneself, what oneself actually is, what the soul is. And that also raises, and because of that raises the question, what is our real nature? Who am I really? Am I this body, or do I have a higher level of existence? So these kind of questions come into picture in all philosophical discussions. And practically, if you see the world over, you can study all the philosophers in the past 2000 years, both in mostly in the Western world, and several in the Eastern world also. And you'll see that most of them are actually confused about what is the nature of the living entity. They try very hard to speculate and come up with some answers, but it's very, very difficult to penetrate through the coverings of material energy to understand what the living entity really is. But Krishna very quickly, very early on in the Bhagavad Gita, he demystifies what the soul is and what the soul is not. Okay, so let's take a look at some verses from the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so as I said, he actually tells first what the soul is and what the soul is not. So let's go to chapter 2, 13th verse. So this verse goes as this is like the beginning of instructions that Krishna tells to Arjuna. So he says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe
Dehinosmin yata dehe
Kaumaram yauvanam jara.
Kaumaram yavananjara.
Prabhu 2:13. I am giving a little background in second chapter. 2:13, yeah. Dehinosmin yatha dehe
Dehinosmin yata dehe
Kaumaram yauvanam jara.
Kaumaram yavananjara.
Tatha dehantara praptir
Tata dehatara prapti
Dhiras tatra na muhyati.
Tiras tatra namayati.
So Arjuna is bewildered at the beginning of the battle, and he is not willing to fight because that will involve killing his relatives, family, friends, and so many other people on the battlefield. So he doesn't want to kill, but then Krishna immediately replies by saying that you are actually thinking for that, or you are worrying for that which is not worthy of really worrying, because he's thinking that the life is temporary. Once you kill a person, or once a person dies, and that's the end, that's all that there is, everything is finished. But actually Krishna reminds Arjuna that is not the case. Why that is not the case? Because the living entity is of the nature of being eternal, and that eternality aspect of reality is very hard for us to comprehend, because everything around us is so temporary, so changing. Nothing lasts forever. So our lifetimes also don't last forever. So this is a very hard concept to grasp. But if we can take it on the principle of faith and a little bit of intellectual understanding, that it can take us a long way in our path, in our spiritual path. So Krishna gives examples throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The beauty of Krishna's interaction with Arjuna, he always gives examples. So we see ourselves changing throughout this lifetime, right? Like my son Balram, he's like young. So I'm sure I was also young at some point. I was also 5 years old. So I had a different body. It looked a little bit different. Then I'm kind of young right now, so I look different, and then I'll also get old, and at some point there'll be a time to leave the body, right? So these are natural phases of life that everyone has to go through. So there is no escaping of it. So Krishna is giving a very beautiful analogy. So just like you're changing your body, just like the body is changing in this lifetime, right, from boyhood to youth to old age, he mentions 3 stages of life. Similarly, at the 4th stage, death is nothing but another change of body. But that change of body, for those who are left behind, for those who are passing away, for us it may be invisible. But that doesn't matter. It's just our limited capacity to see reality is why we are not able to see all that is going on. But Krishna, who is the supreme authority of spiritual knowledge, he's saying that passing away from the body is nothing but another change, just like the soul has changed its covering from boyhood to youth to old age. Okay, so so he's telling Arjuna that on the battlefield, although this may involve a lot of killing, there's nothing really to lament here, because people are going to die anyways, and death is not end of everything. That is not the end of everything, because the soul is eternal. So if we go to now the 16th verse in the same chapter, second chapter, he says, "Those who are seers of truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, and a material body is referred to as asat." Okay, asat means that's really, which is not the ultimate reality, or you can also translate it as not really existing as a true nature of reality. So he says there is no endurance. That means no matter how long or how well you try to protect the body, it will one day fall apart. It will not endure. That's the way material nature works. But he says, on the other hand, there is no and of the eternals, the soul, there is no change. So the soul actually is eternal in nature, and there is no change. And only that which does not change with time, place, and circumstance, and that which stays the same throughout, no matter what, that only can be referred to as Sat. Sat means truth, or actual nature of reality, which doesn't change. The reality that keeps on changing, that is not real, cannot be called as true reality, because if it is real now, then at the next moment it's not real, then it is conditioned. So it depends upon so many circumstances and conditions, so you cannot really depend on it as a true aspect of reality. But the soul is not like that. Soul is eternal nature. It never changes its nature. It's always the same. So therefore soul is of the nature of Sat. So in the beginning of second chapter, Krishna is actually encouraging us to understand this distinction between Sat and Asat, because we are absorbed so much in Asat by all the circumstances around us, by all the conditions of our own body, by all the situations we have in our own family, in situations in our nation, situations in the world, and so on. We are so deeply engrossed and absorbed in everything that is Asat that we practically forget the Sat part of ourselves. So Krishna is trying to remind Arjuna that he is also lost into all kinds of Asat, trying not to fight the battle, but Krishna is reminding of the Sat aspect of ourselves. So that is what is like a little abstract in nature, but that's how Krishna describes the soul. So if we go to a few verses later, then Krishna explains that gives another example. If we go to verse 22, he says, "As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up old and useless ones." So this is what really is going on with the change of body, or the phenomena of death or passing away from the body is something exactly like this. So the soul is like the person, and the garments are like the body. So the change of the body doesn't mean, or change of garments doesn't mean the person is no longer there. It's just it now has a different appearance. Now that appearance may not be visible to us, because when souls leave, they have different destinations depending upon their activities and so many other factors. So we may, and we definitely do, not may, we feel sad and feel separation from our loved ones, but at least theoretically we should understand that this is what is going on, so that we can pray for them, and we can help them achieve the supreme destination. I want to say one more thing about, or a couple more things about the soul. So far Krishna has explained a little bit about nature of soul. Now, just so that we don't get confused with soul as something ordinary that we see around us, like we see ordinary objects around us, right? Like so many things we are seeing around us. So in order to let us know and be convinced that soul is nothing of that kind that we are ordinarily see, he also gives negatives, and he says the soul is not like this, not like this, not like this. So that is explained in verse 23-24, for example. So he says here, Nainam chindanti shastrani, Nainam dahati pavakaha, Na chainam kledayantya apo, Na shochayati marutaha. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. So there are 5 elements of material nature of which everything is made of. So he has listed some of the elements over here, like fire is mentioned, water is mentioned, wind is mentioned, and earth can be transformed to make into weapons. So he mentions four elements already here. So he says that none of these elements are able to touch or come in contact with the soul. That means the soul is not of the nature of everything that we see around us. And that includes our body also. The body is also made of the 5 elements. So the soul is not of that kind. It's not of that nature. It's of a different nature. But somehow it's still entangled with material nature. And that's the whole mystery of life. How we are, we have a different nature, but we are still deeply mesmerized by the material nature. So how all that is taking place, if we can figure out, then our path for liberation and spiritual advancement is clear. And that is precisely the motivation of studying Bhagavad Gita. Next, in the 24th verse, he also says, the individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble. So it is, he says, unbreakable and insoluble, and can neither be burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So he repeats a few things like eternally the same, unchangeable, like that. But he also says unbreakable or insoluble, which means that the Atma or the soul is a fundamental unit of like a reality which cannot be broken any further down. So it is atomic in nature in that sense. It's like a spiritual atom. So my soul, your soul, everyone's soul cannot be broken down any further. Okay, that soul is a unit which remains like that for all of eternality. And that is important to understand, and also give away misgivings about the soul, because some philosophies say the soul merges into Brahman, or it merges into the absolute nature of reality and loses its identity. But that is not true, and it is emphasized in several places in the Bhagavad Gita. Specifically here it says it's unbreakable. That means it cannot merge into anything. It will always remain a fundamental unit of consciousness, or the distinct identity of a living entity. So these are examples of how Krishna explains what soul is and what soul is not. So this is analytical study. It needs like philosophical thinking, little bit deep thought, try to understand world around us, try to understand ourselves, like that. So it is more analytically inclined. But soon after, Krishna then he changes the topic. He then goes on to say, now if you jump a little bit forward, to verse 39 in the 2nd chapter. So he says, then thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. Okay, so in the first part he gives philosophical understanding. In the second part he gives more practical, like ways of work, because everybody has to work, right? Everybody has some work to do. Nobody is, nobody is jobless, or nobody does not, there is nobody who has no responsibility. Everyone has some work to function, work to perform, and some responsibility to deliver, right? So everybody has to work, but now the question is, what is the right way to work? So that he addresses in the second half of the second chapter, and that is called as Buddhi Yoga, or it can also be called as Karma Yoga. So I'm not going to go into details of the second chapter, but now we'll jump into the third chapter, the beginning of the third chapter. So third chapter begins by Arjuna asking the question that, "O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think intelligence is better than fruitive work?" So the reason he is asking this question is because there were two sections in the second chapter. First was Sankhya Yoga, which you need to apply your intelligence to understand. The second one is more about practically how to do one's work without being attached to the fruitive results. That's the background why Arjuna asked this question at the beginning of the third chapter. And basically third chapter is response to that question. So we won't be able to cover entire third chapter. I cannot do justice to all the verses in detail in just half an hour, but I was thinking to cover just few key verses and go up to the 14th verse, because the 14th verse is actually a very, very important one, especially in the modern context. Okay, so what does Krishna say? So Krishna says in the 4th verse that because Arjuna seems to have some kind of misunderstanding that one can actually give up one's work and renounce and go and do something else, right? Give up responsibilities. He seems to have that kind of idea. That is why he's proposing that he wants to quit the battlefield and go to the forest and do something else, right? Not fight the battle. But Krishna immediately corrects that kind of misunderstanding. He says in the 4th verse of 3rd chapter, he says, "Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection." So he's saying that you cannot stop yourself from doing work. If you want to stop work and think that there'll be no reaction, that is not true. So Arjuna is trying to avoid battle, thinking that he'll get sinful reaction by killing his family members. So Krishna is saying, even if you do that, you'll still get some reaction. It's not true that you'll be free from reaction. And so not doing one's work is one thing. The other thing is to renounce, to give up everything and go retire. So that is also not a good idea. He says you cannot attain perfection by such a method. Why? That's answered in the 5th verse. He says everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the modes of nature one has acquired. Therefore no one can refrain oneself. No one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So this is practically true. Like we experience throughout our lives that we cannot stop thinking or acting or doing something even for a moment, right? Throughout our day, when we are in the waking stage, we are continuously thinking of doing something or doing something. Nobody can sit idle for even a moment, especially the kids, right? They are so active all the time. So it is the natural instinct, it's the natural instinct of the soul to be always active. And that activity is displayed through the material body as long as one is in the body. So one is forced to act no matter what. So trying to not act is more like a pretension, because everyone is forced to act. So in the 6th and 7th verse, Krishna says that one who tries to refrain from work, but one's mind is always active, thinking of doing something, or always absorbed in thought, even though externally they may not be acting, then such people are basically pretenders. They are acting like they are renouncing work, but they are actually mentally very active within, and they are always making all kind of plans or thinking about something. So he doesn't recommend such a method. Don't artificially renounce or give up work. On the other hand, in the 7th verse, he recommends that a sincere person should try to control the senses by the mind, and begin one's work or perform karma yoga without attachment. So doing one's work without being attached in the mundane way is much better than not doing work. So Krishna doesn't definitely recommend to stop working, but he instead says that you act in the right way. So this is really the kind of the climax or the conclusion message I want to give today is, after this long introduction and background, is what kind of work should one do, or what is the right way to do work. So that is really karma yoga and that is the real message of the 3rd chapter. So what kind of work one is supposed to do? So in the 9th verse, that is explained. So before that, 8th verse says, perform your prescribed duty. Yeah, so 8th verse is kind of the same message, but 9th verse says, यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणो अन्यत्र लोकोऽयं कर्म बन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्त संग samachara. So he says that there is one special type of work in this world, and that type of work is always present. So that type of work one definitely needs to perform. So we're talking about what kind of work should be done and how it should be done. So what is that work? That work is yajna arthat. That means yajna means sacrifice, but yajna also means the yajna purush, which is Lord Vishnu. So therefore the translation says, work done as sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in this way you will always remain free from bondage. So earlier Krishna said that you have to work, but work in such a way that you don't face the reactions or you don't get entangled by your own work. So for example, if there's some business person and his motivation is to earn money, so he works very hard to set up his business and run the business nicely, and he's earning a lot of profits. But then what happens is, because he has worked hard and the profits are coming, he becomes attached to the whole business thing and the profits and everything that's going on under his control. So if you ask him one day, now you have earned enough, you have enough money for the rest of your life, not only for your life, but you have enough money for your children, grandchildren, and maybe 10 generations you have enough money. So why don't you quit everything and do something else? Why don't you focus on spirituality or Krishna consciousness? Then you'll see that it is very difficult for them to detach and come out of that business mindset and give up attachment to all the profits and money that is coming in. It is practically impossible to do that. So what has happened, and what also happens to all of us, is that when we do work, we get attached, especially to the fruits. We get attached to the work also to the fruits, and that keeps us going in bondage, keeps us in bondage. Work after work, fruit after fruit, result after result, good or bad, doesn't matter. We just keep going on in that loop and loop and loop. And that is the main reason why we lose sight of what is Sat. That means we get completely absorbed in Asat, and that basically defeats the purpose of life. So how to avoid doing that is the trick to that, or the tips to that is given in the 3rd chapter. Krishna says that you have to perform work. There is no way you can avoid work, but you can perform work in a manner in which you don't lose sight of Sat and you don't get lost in Asat. There is a way to do that, and that's the real science of performing work, and that science is called as Karma Yoga. And the central point of Karma Yoga is to perform work for the satisfaction of the Yagya Purush, the Lord Vishnu. So there is work always going on in this world for satisfaction of Lord Vishnu, and that work is called Yagya. If we participate in that Yagya, if we mold our lives that we are also involved in that kind of work, in performing Yagya, then gradually we see that we again gain sight of what is Sat, and we can come out of our absorption in Asat, and that is how such kind of work liberates us from the bondage of repeated life and death in this world. Okay, so that's really, it's a deep science of understanding how the soul is working, how soul is getting entangled, and what is the process of disentangling the soul from its current situation, right? So that is what is given. That's the recipe given in the third chapter. I'll go on for maybe 5-6 more minutes, and then we can stop. So the background is also explained to this. In the 10th verse, Lord Krishna says, in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures, which is Lord Vishnu, he sent forth generations of men and demigod along with sacrifices, and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yagya, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. So an entire system is set up here, which is that Lord Vishnu, Krishna is prescribing to perform yagya, but he has given all the help to perform yagya. He's saying that since the beginning of creation, he has set up a system of all the demigods in charge of different functions of universal affairs and providing basic necessities of life. So all our food, water, even sunlight, moonlight, electricity, oil, on which we are so heavily dependent on in the modern civilization, everything is provided to us, right? These are not not our creations. These are all already given to us. So there is a system in which the Lord is providing all necessities of life, but he recommends that don't just use all of them and be absorbed in asat. Then you're like a thief, because you just take everything and don't pay any gratitude, any respect or anything in return. You just keep taking, and you become selfishly involved in your in your different agendas and lose sight of Sat. So he says instead you learn how to repay for what you're using, what you're getting for free without asking. You're getting so many things, so you try to express gratitude and try to give something back in return, and that something back in return is basically performance of yagya. And by performance of yagya, the demigods who are in charge of the necessities, they will be happy and they will reciprocate. Not only that, the Lord Vishnu, who is really the Yagya Purush in any yagya, he will also be satisfied, and that way we can come out of bondage. We won't be entangled by our own work. So he has set up this entire system. So we need to, in the human form of life, we need to take advantage of this system and continuously engage ourselves in performance of yagya. And without yagya, actually there is no possibility of sustaining life. And this is something that the modern world needs to understand in a very urgent manner, because the way the world is functioning today is very, very precarious. I feel so worried about future generations, what will be their fate. And you can see already what chaos the recent pandemic has created. So I'm going to end by reciting this verse, 14th verse of the 3rd chapter. So you can also say after me. अन्नात् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यात् अन्नसम्भवः यज्ञात् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञकर्म समुद्भवः. So annat bhavanti bhutani, that means all living entities subsist on food grains, anna, right? Without food grains, without having something to eat, nobody can live. There is no life. There is no question of life. But how does food grains come? Food grains come from rain. Parjanyad anna sambhava. Because of rain only, anna is sambhava. Growing food grains is possible. But how does rain come? Rain just doesn't come automatically from the sky, just like that. But actually, rain comes because of performance of yajna. Yajnat bhavati parjanyo, and this is one principle of, again, how the system is set up in the universe, of how to basic necessities of life are provided, is that the different demigods are in charge and they provide these necessities. So rain is provided by Indra, and when yajna is performed on a regular basis, then there will be no shortage of rainfall. So yajnat bhavati parjanyo, and then yajna karma samudbhavaha. And yajna is born of prescribed duties. So everybody has some duties to perform. Everybody has some responsibilities, and it is in line with those responsibilities and natural one's inclination for work that yajna comes about. So yajna, performance of yajna, is actually a very, very natural thing to do. It's nothing artificial. It's nothing out of your reach. It's nothing like, you have to go 10 years of college and university to learn how to do yajna. No, it is just like we eat food, we drink water, we breathe air. All these things come naturally to us, right? Nobody has to teach us. Right from our birth, we know these things. These are already built into our system. Similarly, the performance of yajna is already built into human society naturally, and that's how Krishna has designed the world. So it's a very natural thing to do. It's not artificial. But because we are so deeply engrossed in asat, it may seem unnatural in the beginning. But we can align ourselves very quickly with our natural instincts in good association, and also by reading and understanding the Bhagavad Gita. So here Krishna is saying that to live happily and to live without getting entangled, without bondage, and to not lose view of Sat, then one has to perform yajna. And yajna is mainly directed for satisfaction of Lord Vishnu. And the last point, which is worth emphasizing a lot, is that in this age, in Kali Yuga, there is one yajna which has been prescribed in the scriptures, and that is exactly what we are trying to follow and also teach to others. And that yajna, or performance of work by which Lord Vishnu is satisfied, that yajna is called Sankirtan yajna. Sankirtan means get together and chant the names of God, glorify the activities of God, discuss about God, discuss what Krishna has spoken in the Bhagavad Gita, and so on. So if we do that continuously in the association, then that is the best kind of work, and definitely everyone in all walks of life can do that. I don't think there's any exceptions. Even children can do it. All of us can do it. There is no difficulty in chanting Hare Krishna. And that's why every program we do, it starts with chanting of Hare Krishna, it ends with chanting of Hare Krishna, and in between we discuss about Krishna, like we are doing in Bhagavad Gita. So, so I would like to conclude there. So if I want to summarize in less than a minute of what we talked about, is we talked about aspects of Sat and Asat, and that comes about in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But Krishna also explains in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita of how to perform one's work, and the same theme continues into third chapter, and Krishna clarifies further what is the right way to do work. And the primary mode of working is to perform yajna. That is what he says we should do. By performance of yajna, Lord Vishnu is satisfied and we don't get entangled in asad, but we come back to our eternal nature of sat and gradually progress in Krishna consciousness. And performance of yajna is actually very simple in this age. Just everybody chant together. One time, everyone together. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss for a few minutes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shila Prabhupada, Sudevi Sakhi Devdas here. Prabhuji, thank you so much for this nice spiritual discourse on Bhagavad Gita on this occasion of my father-in-law's passing away anniversary. And thank you so much, Nimai and Nita and Raseshwari Mataji for a very beautiful kirtan. And there will be further kirtan after this also. So please don't go away. And if anybody has any questions regarding whatever Prabhuji has told, you can unmute yourself and ask questions.
Yeah, or you can type in the chat box. I have it. I'm seeing it here. I can read the questions.
Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you so much. Please pray for my father-in-law's soul.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So thank you, Mataji. To love you, Priya Prabhu, thank you very much. Now we'll actually, if there are any questions, just put them in the chat. In the meanwhile, we'll do Kirtan. And then if there are any comments, we can address them after that.
Just want to mention Vrindavan Priya Prabhu, who gave the class today. He also understands Telugu. So any of our relatives who want to ask question in Telugu also is okay. He can answer your question in Telugu also.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah. Hare Krishna. I see several of your family members are joined from India, right? Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
That's very nice.
మీకు ఇప్పుడు చెప్పిన క్లాస్ మీద ఏదైనా ప్రశ్నలు ఉంటే మీరు చాట్ బాక్స్ లో మీ క్వశ్చన్ రాయొచ్చు, లేకపోతే అన్మ్యూట్ చేసి అడగచ్చు. తెలుగులో అడగచ్చు, ఇంగ్లీష్ లో అడగచ్చు. ఎనీ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఇస్ ఓకే, హిందీ ఇస్ ఆల్సో ఓకే.
Hare Krishna. Your son is grown up.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Mataji, I think so. Now we can probably proceed to Kirtan, if that's okay. So now myself and my daughter Shreya will actually perform some Kirtan. I hope you can see us well. If you can see us well, just give us a thumbs up.
I want to do kirtan.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so I will request everyone to.
మీకు తెలుసా గౌరవ్ ప్రభు
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
So now we'll do a small Sri Ram Sankirtan, Sri Ram Nam Sankirtan.
Okay. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram
Thank you very much. Now you can unmute yourself. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, and if you have any other questions or comments, we can take them. I think there are some comments.
I think Ruchi Mataji has asked some question.
Oh, acha. Vrindavan Prabhu, go ahead and address it if you like.
I just replied that also in the chat to everybody. So
Yes,
I
Prabhu,
think,
for benefit of everyone who is listening, maybe you
okay.
can.
Yeah, that's a good question. So her question was, why is Lord Krishna called as Yajna Purusha? In the 3rd chapter, we read some verses, right, where referring to Lord Vishnu, we said that yajna or work should be performed for his satisfaction. And there, yajna refers to both the performance of yajna and also to the one who is the real enjoyer or for whom the yajna is performed. And that's where I mentioned Yajna Purusha is Lord Vishnu. And the reason why he is Yajna Purusha is because he really owns everything and everything comes from him. So when any performance of any yajna is done or some performance is done for his satisfaction, then it is really he who is the enjoyer of that activity. And one who owns really, truly can also be the true enjoyer. So because the sacrifice is meant for his enjoyment, ultimately he's referred to as the Yajna Purusha. And the last verse in 5th chapter, it says precisely that. He says, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. So I am the enjoyer of all yajnas. And how is that? Because Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, that means everything that exists, the entire creation, I am the Lord of that. I am the owner. So only the owner can be the true enjoyer, right? So he is the right person. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhu. So,
Gaurav
Mataji,
Prabhu,
actually,
thank you so much. Your daughter, I forgot her name. Very nice kirtan by her.
please bless her that she can continue some service and maybe develop some taste in
Yeah,
this.
she's following in your footsteps very nicely.
I would request, Mataji, does your son want to do Nursing Dev Aarti? Yeah, you can.
I'll call him, Prabhu. He can do it, but he is not very good at Kartal, but he can sing.
No check.
That's not a problem.
So
You all
I will try to do Kartal. He can sing.
What am I supposed to
Nursing
sing?
Aarti.
Okay.
Gattiga.
Okay.
When do I start?
I will tell you.
Okay.
Okay. You can start.
Namaste Narasingaya.
Namaste Narasingaya.
Prahlada Ladadayine.
Prahlada Ladadayine.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Hiranyakashipurvakshaha.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Yato Nashima Bharato Nashima.
Yito Nashinga Parato Nashinga.
Yato Yami Tato Nashima.
Yato Yami Tato Nashinga.
Bahi Nashima Hridaye Nashima.
Bahir Nashinga Hridaye Nashinga.
Narasimhamadin Sharanam Prapade.
Narasimhamadin Sharanam Prapade.
Tava Kala Naka Adbhuta Shringa Dalita दीता हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
तव कर कमल वरेण अद्भुत श्रृंगार ललिता हिरण्यकशिपुतनु भृंगा केशवधृता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे
जय प्रभु
नहीं जय नृसिंहदे 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 जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर प्रेमानंद जी हरि 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 बोल नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय प्रहलाद महाराज की जय
Oh, Hare Krishna. So I'm so sorry. I thought the spotlight was actually on you. Apparently, it was not on you. My mistake. So thank you once again very much for organizing this program in the memory of your father-in-law and inspiring us. I think a lot of people got benefited. A lot of people joined. About 20 people plus people were there, and I was looking on Facebook Live. There are 106 shares in many groups as well, and 7 people have liked it. And constantly, there were at least, like, I think overall, all in all, about 100 plus people came and went. They were watching in between. They got benefited by Kirtan and Katha. So definitely all this benefit goes to towards the soul of your father-in-law. And, this is one way we can deliver our forefathers, by becoming devotees and making our character spotless by following the recommendations of the Shastras. So thank you once again, and now we'll conclude the program. Hare Krishna.